summer has flown by, hasn't it?
It has. It's, whenever you get to mid-August or late August, it's like, darn. Where did the summer go?
Back to school,
back to normal,
and everything.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite apparatus that will be in the air show today?
So again, I mentioned earlier the Thunderbirds. Obviously, when we have our international friends come join us, that's always a positive.
That'd be great.
You see different things, obviously, with the parachute, the Golden Knights, etc. So you have different things. You have commercial aircraft. You have military-specific aircraft. It just blows my, again, I keep saying that because this is something that I've seen since a child when I first saw an aircraft in the sky, and obviously big fan of Top Gun. Obviously that's naval aviation, but
Top Gun 2?
Top Gun 2 is coming out, so I'm very excited. That's kind of aircraft candy. It blows my mind, and that's one of the many reasons that kind of led me into defense and aerospace, among obviously what happened with 9/11 and the impacts on that. But the fact of the matter is, this is just amazing aircraft that men and women have designed that are in the air. We manufacture it out of hundreds, if not thousands, of parts. You have this concept, you put it on paper. You test and you prototype, and then you get it in the air. You get a qualification from the FAA or some other regulatory body that allows you to be in the air, and then it's in the sky. It's amazing.
Brian, you gave it a go in 2018 last cycle, and it was a Hurley in the Morning exclusive. We broke the news with you that you would be running again in the 2020 cycle. Talk about it. Talk about what you learned. I think you cannot overstate how important experience is, because you learned how it works and the whole infrastructure of county chairman and is it eight different chairmen, and you did all that. You got one of them, right?
Yep.
You got the endorsement first time out, and obviously they were very enthusiastic about you announcing that you were running again, correct?
Yes.
So
Chairwoman Jackie Vigilante called in when I announced exclusively on your radio show.
Did she actually announce her support too?
She's just excited that I'm back in the race.
Okay, fair enough. I don't want to say more than should be said. I remember it was a very enthusiastic call that the chairwoman shared that morning. So tell us what you learned and why you're back again.
So this is a huge process, and most people that get to know me know I'm a fast learner as kind of a result with what I do in my private life with corporate America and working in defense and aviation. But the fact of the matter is, you have to learn, you have to understand, and you have to really take advantage of the fact that people need to know you. One of the challenges I had last time was I was introducing myself at the same time that I was campaigning, whereas this time I'm a known commodity, and people have gotten to know me, obviously with my work through the Atlantic County Young Republicans in the last year. We've turned that into a mini juggernaut of over 100 members that I would say 99% of the people here in Atlantic County and South Jersey didn't think could be done, and we were able to turn that into an organization that has staying power and that will assist our assembly candidates. And
it was impressive what you did.
I appreciate that.
I mean, you really you put a lot of energy, a lot of hard work, a lot of shoe leather, a lot of meetings, and you continued to build and build and build that. And as you know, it hadn't existed, so it was off, ground level type startup operation. It's hard to get something like that going, and you created velocity and you created relevance, and it was impressive.
No, I appreciate that, and I don't deserve all the credit. Chairman Keith Davis of the Atlantic County Republicans placed a lot of faith in me to put this organization together. He's been a great mentor, he's been a great friend, and I continue to learn from his guidance, what he's done as a chairman in a decade plus. So I'm very appreciative of that. But the other things to learn from last time to this time is gaining that early support. And one of the things that now we're getting national attention for, which was the whole point, is having individuals, elected officials, come out and support. We have 6 endorsements already. Mayor Finucci over in Vineland, the largest city in the district. Obviously, that was our first endorsement, and that is very crucial considering it's Cumberland County, as well as the 5 that have followed. 2 mayors here in Atlantic County, Northfield Mayor Erlen Chow, as well as Linwood's Mayor Rich DePamphlis, have thrown their support, along with Downtownship Mayor Robert Campbell, Cumberland County Committeeman Kevin Smagnato, as well as former Assemblyman Sam Fiocchi and a former opponent of mine in 2018. So I'm very humbled to have the support of these 6 individuals thus far, and we're going to continue to build on that pipeline, that infrastructure, so that we can be the Republican candidate and take out Van Drew in November.
Obvious question, but I want to pose it anyhow to give you an opportunity to talk about it.
Absolutely.
You're a very competitive person, so I know the answer to this. You are in this to win it, correct?
Yes.
This is not just like, hey, I'll get known. Hey, it'll help me at work. I mean, this is great in my field. People are going to know me. I mean, you're in this, you're serious, and you are running because you believe you can win the nomination.
I will win the nomination. And one of the challenges last time in 2018 was, unfortunately, what's real known about the challenge that I had, and that bounced me from the ballot so that I couldn't even compete, which was unfortunate. Obviously, we're doing everything we can to rectify that and learn.
In Cumberland.
In Cumberland, as well as on the ballot placement when we had an opponent take me to court, sue me into an 8-hour court appearance. That actually, I have to give kudos to another former opponent, Bob Turkavich, who was there with me. He didn't have to be there, but he was there in support.
True. That's true. A fellow opponent. What an honorable, just good man. A fellow opponent who, you being knocked off, or put in a worse position on the ballot in Siberia where nobody could even see you, would have been in a selfish politician's interest to not only not be there, but to be rooting that you get knocked out or knocked down. He supported you. That I remember making a big deal out of that, because that's everything that I like to see. I like gentlemen. It doesn't have to be vicious and dirty and nasty. And look, if you're going to win, you don't have to win like that. No. Compete, and whoever is the best candidate is going to emerge. But knocking people out and not letting them on, I didn't like any of that stuff. Yeah. In terms of the field, do you think this will be a smaller field than it was last time? I think
last time there was 8 candidates. I think it's going to be smaller this time. Obviously, there's attention to individuals that are going to self-fund, and secrets out. My financial disclosure form was plastered all over the place earlier this week. No one realized that I had financial viability. Oops, secrets out. You can Google that. So I'm not afraid of taking on any candidate, and I'm just like I said last time. Any candidate that wants to be in this race, I welcome it.
By the way, I did get in a breaking news Hurley in the Morning exclusive, the candidate that I know you're referring to, the self-fund thing. He's not self-funding. He announced that he would be making a $500,000 contribution. I haven't found out yet if it's a contribution or a loan, but a $500,000, we'll just say, infusion from his personal funds into his account. But I think you're going to agree, and he'll be here in just a little bit at about 9:15. Congressman Van Drew raised $1.9 million in the last cycle and was victorious. I think he's going to need more than that in this cycle. I think he could maybe double that and go
as a freshman incumbent, yes, sir,
to maybe $4 million, certainly 3+. And so that means to me, I think whoever the Republican nominee is, to be competitive, can't be outspent by more than 2-1. You don't want to get 3-1, 4-1, and some crazy sideways crooked number. Are you in a position to raise $2 million?
So that's the whole strategic avenue of getting grassroots support and building and nationalizing election. Obviously, I'm not going to tell the full-blown strategy of how we're doing that, but we have a way to get to that pathway. And there's South Jersey, there's North Jersey, there's the rest of the country. Those of you that know my background and what I've had to do as regards to work and living in multiple states, obviously it's tapping into pockets of that look at this as a strategic seat. The NRCC has targeted this seat as a top 55 that they want to take back. Obviously, this is in a Trump district, and they want to take back.
Brian, let me remind everyone, President Trump defeated Hillary Clinton in the 2nd Congressional District by 15,000 votes.
Yes, 4.6%.
So I've always said this, and that's where Jeff Andrew is sort of a fascinating just phenomenon. It's a Republican district, I believe, but it is shown that it is a swing district. Obviously, Congressman Hughes held the seat for 20 years. Congressman Loviando held the seat for 24 years. So this is a district that's willing to give who they perceive to be the best person, the best candidate, the nod. Not just Republican or Democrat.
No, and I agree that
specific.
South Jersey picks based on person, not party, and all I have to do is, look what we've done so far by identifying our new congressman. Some of the things that I've issued press releases and that I have issues over. Obviously, he voted to condemn the president of the United States. That's an issue for me. He voted against the national emergency declaration down at the border wall. Anyone who's been down to the border knows that we need a physical barrier, we need sensors, we need drones, we need UAS to support our border patrol agents. And obviously, the other major thing from a federal standpoint, the congressman voted for $15 minimum wage, which obviously will negatively affect our shore communities, our farmers, and make us less competitive. So those are just three of a handful of things that I don't think represent the district.
Let me ask you a question, and I even suspect that I know what your answer will be, but I still want to pose the question. The case could be made that the freshman time that you're running the first time is when you're the most susceptible. I believe that. I think it's borne out. It used to be 90-some% just automatic, no matter what you did, but that's not the way it is anymore. People will vote a member out in ways that they never did for so many generations, and that's why we saw so many people in for 20 and 25 and 30 years at a clip, and then they would leave when they decided to leave. Now voters are packing people. Who's the one that he was third in line to be speaker? That Ocasio-Cortez beat. What's his name?
Oh yeah, that's sad that we forget his name
but
already.
Bam, he's gone, and he thought he might be the next speaker. And oops, fall down. He go boom. He fall down. He's done, and he got smoked out. So you never know. Can you make the case that actually is this a tougher race for Congressman Van Drew as the freshman incumbent, than when it was an open seat?
I can make that case because I believe that it's all about performance, right? He ran and campaigned on having 30 years of experience, being in office literally my lifetime, and he was ready to go down, roll up his sleeves, get down to D.C., and unfortunately, that's not been the case. Look at his performance. Forget what he says. Look at his performance. And unfortunately, just like in my world in corporate America, you're measured on your performance, and that is the biggest thing that I can say. When you're running, obviously in a presidential election year, that's different than a midterm, and you're a freshman incumbent, and your performance has been less than adequate. And of course, there was the first vote that he had that you and I privately and publicly have had disagreements on whether or not he voted for Speaker Pelosi or not, which created a lot of confusion for those here in South Jersey because he voted present. He voted no, but it counted as present because you have to vote for an actual individual. But to your initial question, yes, I think it's very difficult when it's a presidential year for any incumbent, regardless of party, and when you actually have something to be measured on in terms of performance. I
think the other thing, too, is that President Trump, despite the national hysteria and the Trump derangement syndrome,
TDS.
He's very, TDS is it's real.
It's
I say
real.
all the time, it's very real. I mean, you look at the member of the legislature that recently had a mock assassination of the president. I mean, to me, they should go to jail. That's a criminal offense and a direct threat against
the life of the president.
I mean,
we would say the same thing if it was President Obama, if it was President Clinton, President Bush.
Always would say.
There's not one set of rules for them and one set of rules for us.
So the Republican nominee is going to have President Trump on the top of the ticket. That's no small thing.
No, it's not. And taken on the other side, Jeff Van Drew's going to have to run with whoever that Democratic nominee is, whether that's Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris. Those are probably likely the three that will wind up being at the top of the ticket. He's going to have to run with them as well. I mean, he can separate himself, but I think every district's different. All politics are local, and I think performance is key.
The thing that Congressman Van Drew has done his entire career is he casts defendable votes. And what I mean by that is, I think some people think this. I don't think he's calculating, all right, well, I can't do this one, but I'll do this one. Hey, I'll do that one, but I won't do that one. I was a little surprised at the one that you brought up, the vote to
condemn the president of the United States.
Condemn the president, because I think that was not good, and that was just Democrat politics, and that's not what I see from Congressman Van Drew. But he's not the type of Democrat that most Republicans will be running against around the country. He presents problems for the Republican nominee. Fair comment?
So I think that's fair because, look, respectfully, I respect him for his service for 30 years. I'm glad that anyone who gets into public office and then wants to represent the people, that's very respectful. But when it comes down to time, each race is different. You're not going to be able to say that someone is a drastic socialist. It's not who he is, and I would never label him something that he's not. It's about performance. It's about
because he's not that.
He's not that, and other races that can happen.
In fairness to him, he is in a different universe. I had somebody try the other day to debate me. He's not in the universe of the squad. No way. No how. Closing comment.
Well, just check out FitzHerbertForCongress.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Sign up for our emails. You can learn more about me and my positions. Obviously, my background in defense and aerospace is a huge part of what I'm trying to leverage here. Obviously, the assets we have here with the airport, the tech center, the tech park, the tech village being developed down in Cape May along with the UAS program and the Coast Guard Training Center, all of which I have significant experience with, and I can be that vehicle for the people in South Jersey come 2020 election.
Brian, excellent to present you today. Good luck.
Thank you, Harry. I appreciate you having me.